I'm Amy Halloran, and I wrote a book called The New Bread Basket. I am in love with flour, and this is one way that I look at my love for flour. The Bread Lab has been an incredible way to explore my curiosity about flour. I came to see Steve Jones the first time 3 years ago when I was just beginning to understand regional flour production and what it meant to grow grains out of the commodity system. And he was very generous in opening up his mind and work to me. And then everything like that has been similar. I just love these connections that you get to make at the grain gathering about wheat and bread, and all the people who are also obsessed with grains and trying to find new ways to eat and work with them. Flour's having a real interesting moment. Grains and flour are being seen in a way that they didn't have before. They are rising out of anonymity onto the radar of chefs, onto the radar of the general public, and part of that is because of the gluten fear. I used to think of the fear of gluten as a very terrible thing to my own interest in trying to get people to understand flour, but it's actually a terrific opportunity because people are looking to alternatives like local processing, different off-commodity wheats that can maybe have a different effect on them. And I think that the movement has really exploded over the last few years, and who knows how fast it's going to grow now as we see more mills popping up, more varieties getting plugged into farming systems and serving the consumer and chef requirements for new grains. I love to see the way that the public is latching on to the novelty factor of grains, and I'm hoping that the expansion of the Bread Lab and the cooking teaching capacity that King Arthur will bring in to this will help persuade us to be more of a whole grain culture and take advantage of all these new foods. I think it's the individual ambassadorship of people who have been persuaded by the powerful flavors of grains that are going to be able to convert people one by one into grains being not just something that's good for you. Whole grains aren't just good for you, but they're actually stunningly tasty. My own mission is to do this through pancakes because I think that pancakes have the really clean layer. When I do pancake classes, I don't let people put syrup on it at first. I want them to taste the flour. And whole grain flour in a pancake or a crepe announces itself. It stands right up. And people can see that it's something different and that the difference is not a punishment, but it's this incredible taste that you can play with and incorporate into your diet on a pretty fast way. Pancakes are the original fast food. Crepes we've been making forever. It's just crushed grains on a hot stone. And I think that it's got great potential for reintroducing us to the possibilities of what whole grain eating can be. About 5 years ago, my husband brought me a cookie. And that cookie was made with freshly milled wheat and rolled oats. And the oats and wheat were strong enough to stand up against some really excellent butter and chocolate in an oatmeal ganache bar. And that cookie made me go out and see why flour wasn't being made close to home and who were the people who were starting to do this again. It sent me on a journey back to the field and into mills and into bakeries and malt houses and breweries. And I met people who are reviving regional grain production. And my book is a tour of that journey. I have profiles of people in the Northeast, the Pacific Northwest, and a little bit in California. And I'm showing off the people who are really dedicating their lives to making grains local and fresh again.